This is TVC News at 7. Thank you for joining us. We'll begin in Abuja, where President Muhammadu Buhari has handed down a 2-week ultimatum to the Ministry of Education, Adamu, to proffer solution to the prolonged industrial action by the Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU. The president gave the directive earlier today during a meeting with relevant government ministries, agencies and departments, where he received briefings on the current face-off with the university unions since the 14th of February, among other issues. Although it is not unusual for the president to hold briefings with the ministers, it was gathered that President Buhari placed a high premium on the issue of resolving the lingering ASU strike. For more on the directive by the President to the Minister of Education, let's speak with the ASU Chairman or AU Chapter, Adeola Igbedo, who joins us live via Zoom from Ife. Well, the President is weighing in this matter and has now directed the Minister of Education to find a solution, anyhow that would happen within 2 weeks. What level of confidence does ASU and other education unions have in resolving this impasse within this period of time?
Well, thank you for having me this evening. I want to say thank you to TVC. Let me start by saying that the Minister of Labour, I mean to say that Minister of Labour, has no competence in the handling of the matter between the federal government and ASU. And to us as ASU, we also believe that the only minister in the federal government of Nigeria that has the competence to undo this matter of this impasse, the Minister of Education. And we have so much confidence in him because we will notice one thing, that when the Minister of Education weighed in about a month ago on this matter, we did not hear any noise anywhere. And the conversation that we had with the government and also with the BRICS committee went on smoothly for about 3 weeks. Nobody had anything. It was only when Mr. Dr. Chris Ngige came to, maybe he just got wind of what was in the document that he began to, come to the television and began to run. We have 100% confidence in the Minister of Education. And ASU, we have always said it, that we are ready. As long as government is ready, we are also ready. And our president has said it several times, that this strike can be ended in less than 24 hours if government is serious.
So at this time, you believe the government is ready and is working to resolve the impasse. You've mentioned that you believe the Minister of Labour has no competence to resolve this issue. But ideally, from the very beginning, the Minister of Education himself should have been involved because universities are directly under his ministry. Isn't that the case?
Well, I think it is only the Minister of Labour that will explain that area, why he hijacked what did not belong to his ministry.
Well, let's talk about the future now. The president has given 2 weeks ultimatum for this issue to be resolved. Are you very confident and really ready to strike a balance? Because as it is over time, the government has mentioned lack of funds. I mean, funds aren't as available as they were back then when this agreement were reached.
Well, let me also say that this matter has to do with an issue between two parties. And when there are two parties that are involved in a matter, I think what we should be looking at is a middle point. Okay? And when we get to that middle point, we have always also said that ASU is the union of intellectuals. We know what we are doing. We know where we are going. We know the situation in the country, no doubt about that. But we have factored all of these into whatever negotiation that we have done you have done with the federal government of Nigeria. And if government on their part is very sincere, I mean sincere, ASU is also ready. In fact, we are always ready to be sincere with the government. And whatever it takes to ensure that this strike is ended as soon as possible. I think it lies within the powers of the federal government to end it as soon as possible. And as long as the minimum is met, not in trouble. Our union is ready.
All right. In the quest to get government to meet ASU's demands, we've had other university unions join in the strike, and the Labour Congress plan a protest for the Tuesday and Wednesday next week. Do you suppose that protest would go ahead, even with the consideration that the president has weighed in and the matter is seeming more serious than it was before?
Okay, let's see what unfolds in the next few days, because I believe that news is just coming in. And one of the reasons why that action was taken was to draw the attention of the federal government to this problem on the ground. And for the reason that the president has also weighed in, let's see what is going to happen in the next few days between NLC, ASU, and federal government. I am not competent to say that it is going to hold, it is not going to hold as a reason of that. I'm not competent. It is the NLC Central Working Committee that is competent, to say that. But let's see what is going to happen. Let's see how reasonable government is going to be on this matter in the next few days.
All right, Dr. Gbedokwan. Maybe another consideration would be that of factional chapters within ASU. And, you have one of them saying they are not part of the strike. But as you've said, wait to see how the coming days unfold. Dr. Adeola Egbedokun is ASU chairman of Obafemi Awolowo University chapter. Thank you for joining us on TVC News at 7.
Okay, thank you.
All right, let's talk security now. In Kaduna, barely 5 days after 2 Catholic priests were abducted by terrorists, one of them has now been found dead, while the other regained freedom. Those priests were kidnapped at Christ the King Catholic Church in Lere local government area last Friday. Security operatives who were on a mission to rescue the priests say the remains of Reverend Father John Mark Chetnum was found at a farm in a nearby village and has been deposited at a morgue in Zonkowa. Meanwhile, Reverend Father Donatus Klepas, who reportedly regained freedom, has been taken to the Kafanchan Catholic Diocese in Jema local government area. The incident comes barely a month after another Catholic priest was killed on his farm by armed bandits. The Kaduna police authorities are yet to acknowledge the incident. In the meantime, the Benue State Police Command has arrested 67 suspects for illegal possession of arms and drugs across Maiduguri, the state capital. Commissioner of Police Benue State Command Abdul Umar says the arrests were made in the last 2 months in an effort to rid the state of crime. Jesse Tafida has more.
These suspects were arrested by the Nigerian police for committing various offenses, ranging from being in possession of dangerous weapons and drugs suspected to be marijuana, armed robbery, and rape.
For security of lives,
Arraigning the suspect before newsmen in Maiduguri, the police public relation officer ASP Sani Shatambaya disclosed that 11 among the suspects were arrested for armed robbery and house burglary in various parts of the state. He reveals that the suspect had been using the weapons to cause public disturbance with threats to people's lives.
This is not unconnected with the gallantry and unwavering efforts of the personnel of the command, as well as the information provided by some good citizens of the state. I urge the members of the public to cooperate with the police and other security agencies in order to deliver our mandate.
The police, in collaboration with personnel of NDLEA, arrested other suspects for being in possession of dangerous drugs.
Suspects being caught in possession of drugs suspected to be Indian hemp are unfortunately mostly youth, who are supposed to channel their energy and ability toward a profitable venture. We shall continue to reiterate the fact that Borno State Police Command is working hard to ensure that the state is not a safe haven for criminals and unguided elements. No criminal in the state will go unpunished.
The police noted with concern the growing number of youths being in possession of dangerous weapons, causing life-threatening injury to some unsuspecting members of the public. The suspects will be charged to court after preliminary investigations are completed. The police express its commitment to tackle crime in the state. Chasita Fida, TVC News, Maiduguri.
A group under the aegis of Forum for Concerned Nigerians has appealed to the federal government to ensure that nothing happens to Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom, as any attempt to silence him will be resisted. Addressing a press conference in Makurdi, the Benue State capital, spokesperson for the group, Peter Shande, also called on the international community to act on the concerns raised by Governor Ortom over his safety and the rising speed of violence in Nigeria. Maya Wakwato reports.
Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom has been invited as a special guest to 2 international summits in the United Kingdom and the United States of America. The events focus on peace building, social justice, and sustainable development in Nigeria, as well as other parts of the world. And while it was outside the country during the past few weeks, the governor made several calls to the US and UK to intervene in Nigeria's economic and political affairs. Now, a group believes the governor's action have set him up for several instances of sponsored blackmail and even attempts to eliminate him.
Nigeria is too important in the African continent and Committee of Nations to be allowed to become a failed state simply because a sitting president wants it to be destroyed. We are watching keenly. Nothing must happen to Benue State Governor Samuel Ortom. The governor represents the suffering and marginalized people of this country who are being slaughtered like animals by terrorists on a daily basis.
They call on international community to intervene in the situation by establishing a special envoy on Nigeria. Mayowa Okwato, TVC News, Makurdi.
Now to Delta State, where the police have arrested a 23-year-old man for allegedly killing his girlfriend over disagreement. Also in Isoko North Council area, 3 murder suspects who allegedly strangled their employers, a married couple, and robbed them of their valuables and raped the wife are now in custody. Delta State Commissioner of Police Muhammad Ari, who paraded the suspects at the State Police Command headquarters, said proactive step of collaborating with members of the public and relevant stakeholders is yielding results. Ikenna Amechi reports.
According to the police boss in Delta State, over 100 suspects were arrested in the past 1 month as a result of the robust partnership with various stakeholders and members of the public in assisting the police to fight crime. Among the suspects is this 23-year-old young man here who allegedly murdered his girlfriend, Gift Oloku, over disagreement and damage to his iPhone.
I beat her with machetes. I didn't know it was going to happen that way. It was seriously a mistake. I don't have the intention of killing her or anything.
Investigation, however, revealed that a fight ensued between both of them over a disagreement. The suspect claimed that she damaged his phone, iPhone 11 Pro Max, while they were fighting, which angered him, and he used a machete on her.
For these 3 suspects, the killing of their employer and his wife is what they were apprehended for.
So I told them now we can't go inside. As we go inside, the man sit down. So as the man, they will come use rope to attack the man. So they come inside there for neck.
In their quest for money making to buy phones and data, they stormed the house of their employers. That is the victim, the 2 victims, the man and his wife. They robbed them, and during which they killed the couple. 2 of the suspects, Chukwudi Sunday and Yomachi Paul, also raped the man's wife even before they killed her.
On parade here also are these pregnant young women rescued from a baby factory syndicate who sell babies born by the young ladies, 5 suspected tricycle thieves, and this man who killed his 18-month-old son for ritual, and over 70 cultists.
The successes recorded so far by the command wouldn't have been made possible without the support of Deltans who have been, of course, been very supportive and very passionate about their security and well-being.
The police also arrested 2 suspected kidnappers who adopted this young man and collected ransom and his car. Arms and live ammunitions were also recovered alongside phones, POS machines, and other items. Ikenna Amechi, TVC News, Asaba.
Let's now turn attention to Imo State, where residents of Oru West and Oru East local government areas have protested the alleged gruesome killing of over 10 youths of Otulu community by security team suspected to be members of the Imo State-owned security outfit, Ebubiagu. The youths were said to have been killed at Awomama while returning from a traditional wedding ceremony. The protesters blocked Owerri Onitsha Road, calling for the disbandment of the security outfit. In a viral video circulating on social media, the indigents of the community were seen conveying the dead bodies of the youths to the market square in wheelbarrows in a protest of the killing. But in a swift reaction, the Imo State Governor, Hope Uzodinma, while briefing journalists shortly after the weekly Security Council meeting at Government House, Owerri, said those killed were bandits.
There is a team who then brought out named Ebubagu, and that Ebubagu have been killing. When they come where they are doing occasion, they will begin to shoot paradically, killing people.
Oru as large, both Oru East and Oru West, we are all here gathered. We are not happy with what is actually happening in our land. We have been trying to deal with it, but at this juncture, we can't enjoy it anymore.
We don't want Ebubagu again. If Ebubagu finish our youth, we will be women. What are we going to do for this town?
We just came out from a Security Council meeting where the DSS confirmed that they did the operation. And the operation has nothing to do with any wedding place. They went to a camp, and they went to the camp with a pointer who is a member of the gang. And they caught some people. And the people are currently with the Department of DSS. Yes, they killed some people. But those were also bandits, But we are waiting for detailed report. This is the interim report given to us in the Security Council.
A non-governmental organization has unveiled its report on the level of non-compliance by agencies of the federal government to remittances of revenue. The group called for public pressure on ministries, departments, and agencies towards complying with the provisions of the Fiscal Responsibility Act.
The Fiscal Responsibility Commission was established in 2007 to provide for prudent management of the nation's resources. 15 years on, the Commission is battling non-compliance with some of the provisions establishing aid. This Assembly of Government Organizations, civil society groups, and the media is here to hear about GIF's contribution to the crusade for remittances of funds to government coffers by MDAs. It comes at a time the National Assembly is investigating the indebtedness to the federal government of over 2 trillion naira by MDAs.
If we know why they are defaulting, then we can ask the follow-up question. What is the authority, or what are the authorities doing about the default? Is it okay to just throw our arms in the air that revenues for public service delivery is dwindling?
With Nigeria's debts on the rise, many here insist remittance of government funds is critical to helping the nation.
We're happy that the CSOs have risen up to the occasion. We're happy that they are partnering with the governments. We continue to encourage them.
The current administration is trying everything humanly possible to ensure that all leakages as far as revenue in the public sector is concerned are blocked.
We've borrowed so much money, even though they say we've not exceeded the threshold. But it begins to put fears in the minds of people who are right thinking.
For the reviewer, The report comes handy towards seeing the desired change the nation requires.
Naira is under so much pressure, we may not even find money to borrow again. I hope we know that the Chinese source that used to fund our infrastructure by way of borrowing from us has also dried up.
Where is the money? Catalogs the Revenue Remittance Compliance Index of 150 federal government agencies. 58 of them fared above average, 73 fell on average compliance level, while 19 were below average compliance.
Away from that, about 3,000 households in Sokoto State have benefited from COVID-19 palliatives from the Victims Support Fund, a non-governmental organization. The State Commissioner for Health, Muhammad Ali Nami, who represented the state governor at the flag-off of the distribution, says the gesture will go a long way in addressing challenges of the needy and less privileged.
COVID-19 pandemic was as much an economic as it was a health crisis in Nigeria. Experts say the early part of COVID-19 crisis ushered in Nigeria to the deepest recession since the 1980s, with services and industry suffering serious setbacks. This majorly was the fallout of lockdown measures which restricted people's ability to go to work and engage in other economic transactions. For Nigeria, this period also coincided with the fall in global oil prices, which accounted for over 80% of Nigerian export and more than 50% of government revenues. This crisis that led to massive job losses as well as the crippling of small and medium enterprises, exposing the weak social protection policy in Nigeria and large welfare losses. Many households were forced to adopt negative coping strategies in response to the shock that have accompanied the COVID-19 crisis. To mitigate these challenges, the Victim Support Fund is assisting a total of 3,000 households in Sokoto State. This is part of an ongoing COVID-19 task force distribution across the 36 states of the Federation and include food packs, medical materials for COVID-19 prevention, and solar power water boreholes.
So we will ensure that across the state, beneficiaries that ought to receive this thing have received it.
COVID-19 had created a lot of debilitating challenges, specifically relating to economic issues, survival, health, education.
To ensure effectiveness in distribution, members of civil society organizations in Sokoto and the state government received a palliative that will be distributed to members of communities across the 23 local governments.
Said this support will go a long way in helping the people of Sokoto State and Nigeria as a whole.
I assure you that we are going to be, this item will be distributed to the right household and is going to be utilize it.
The Sokoto State Commissioner for Health, Muhammad Ali Nami, appealed to members of the general public to make themselves available for the COVID-19 vaccination, which he says is the only sure way of fighting the spread of the virus.
There'll be more stories in just a moment. Stay with TVC News. Men, àwọn stories yẹn wọ́n lágbára o. Èyí tó ṣáájú APC to unveil yẹn, it's an important story too. So bóyá ń ṣe la máa fi imo NGO sílẹ̀, bóyá ń ṣe la máa fi imo NGO sílẹ̀, á ṣe 14 and then 13. And APC. I think that Kano and APC. And let's take APC before Kano. So we'll take APC then Kano. Yes, please. Thanks for staying with us. To some politics now. The All Progressives Congress will unveil Senator Kashim Shettima, the running mate to its presidential candidate Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, on Wednesday. This is coming 5 days after the governing party postponed the unveiling with no reason given for the shift in date. Kashim Shettima was meant to have been presented to party members at the APC National Secretariat on the 14th of July, but an APC official told journalists the event has been moved forward. Asiwaju Bola Tinubu had on the 10th of July announced the ex-governor and senator representing Borno Central as his running mate in the 2023 general elections. Elsewhere, the Northern Young Professionals for Tinubu NYPT has called on the Northern electorate to support the All Progressives Congress's presidential candidate, Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, in next year's election. The group also educated the people on the need to urgently register and collect their permanent voter cards on time in preparation for the general elections. Ibrahim Issa reports, and then we'll have business news.
Nigeria!
The 2023 general election is fast approaching and political activities have since commenced. In Kano, like many Nigerian states, supporters of Asiwaju Bola Tinubu are seeking more support from the electorate. The Nigerian Young Professionals for Tinubu NYPT have gathered to celebrate the emergence of the former governor of Lagos State as the party's presidential flag bearer. They are also happy with the emergence of Senator Kashim Shettima as his running mate and want to enlighten the electorate on the need not just to register, but to get their PVCs in readiness for the elections.
We are doing it to celebrate the emergence of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, our principal, as the presidential flag bearer of our party. We are doing the second celebration to celebrate the emergence of Senator Kashim Shettima as his running mate come 2023 elections. And the third one, which is the most important, is all about creating awareness to people on the need to have their voters card.
The group's national coordinator acknowledges criticisms coming from Christians over APC's Muslim ticket, but points out that Asiwaju Tinubu's wife, who is a devout Christian and a pastor, would be a reliable representative of the people of that faith. He advises Nigerians to shun politics of religion and ethnicity and concentrate on the overall development of the country.
If you're talking of the Christian community, they are ably represented in Asiwaju Bola Tinubu's house. And if he picks a Muslim, it's because, just like I said, he doesn't look at the politics of religion or ethnicity. We're just looking at our party, who can we have that we get that vote.
The group vowed to continue mobilizing support for Asiwaju Bola Tinubu in Kano State and beyond. They are confident that Tinubu will win next year's election based on his pedigree as a performer and talent hunter. Ibrahim Issa, TVC News, Kano.
In business news, the Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank of Nigeria has raised the monetary policy rate MPR, which measures interest rates from 13% to 14%, while the aim is to tame rising inflation. Addressing journalists today in Lagos after the committee's meeting, the Apex Bank's governor, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, says the hike in interest rates will help curb inflationary pressures.
The committee clearly identified that inflationary pressure was being driven by both demand and supply side factors, which should be addressed using different policy approaches. In the committee's view, the demand side factors were being broadly addressed by the bank using the relevant direct and indirect instruments. On the supply side, the bank has continued to provide the necessary support through its development finance initiatives in the real sector to ease supply constraints. The committee called on the federal government to prioritize efforts to curb the menace of insecurity to enable farming and other business activities return to normalcy.
The committee also emphasized the need for commercial banks to pay attention to boosting supply and cushioning rising production costs caused by the high cost of energy and raw materials.
To ensure that output still remains in focus, MPC advised the bank's management to continue to use its development finance tools to support the agricultural and manufacturing sectors in Nigeria. Committee thus voted unanimously to raise the monetary policy rate, MPR. One member voted to increase the MPR by 150 basis points. 6 members by 100 basis points. 1 member by 75 basis points, and 3 members by 50 basis points. Consequently, committee resolved to increase the MPR by 100 basis points from 13% to 14%. And in summary, MPC voted as follows. 1, increase MPR to 14% from 13%. 2, retain the asymmetric corridor at plus 100 and minus 700 basis points around the MPR. 3, retain the CRR at 27.5%. And 4, retain liquidity ratio at 30%.
Government at all levels have been urged to create an enabling environment for young Nigerian entrepreneurs to thrive, thereby contributing their quota to the social-economic development of the country. The charge was given by young business leaders at an event which held in Lagos. Blessed Omonose tells us more.
Lack of financial support, inadequate infrastructure, amongst others, has been described as major impediments to the growth and sustainability of small-scale businesses in Nigeria. At this gathering of young business leaders who are recognized as 40 under 40 CEOs, government have been urged to intensify efforts to improve the operating environment for young entrepreneurs by addressing core, traditional and non-traditional issues.
Government needs to standardize or they need to consolidate all the fees that businesses need to pay. You are running a business today, especially for us that, we have a factory and we manufacture. Different government agencies coming left, right and center, coming to ask you for different stuff. You don't know who is genuine, you don't know who is not genuine, you don't know who the agencies that are being duplicated. If government can consolidate everything and we have a repository where we can go online and see all the fees and fines that we're supposed to pay.
The Lagos government is actually taking some steps already in, correlating data, especially in the real estate sector. There's so much housing deficiency, and the cost of properties, cost of constructions keeps increasing daily. So there are quite a number of initiatives they started already. So I'm just hoping that they stay consistent to what they have said they're going to do.
For the regional director of Young Entrepreneurs International Summit, Mr. Motayo Salako, he emphasized on the importance of entrepreneurship for driving innovation, productivity, job creation, and economic growth.
Aside from the national economic issues faced in Nigeria, from power to resources to inflation, there was also the COVID pandemic also, which affected so many businesses. But these youth have been able to create ways where there's not been ways. They've been able to diversify from being physical, they've not done to technological, just buy land through technology, farm through technology. So we create this platform to keep on encouraging them to say what you're doing is too good. And they're able to create employment for lots of young investors in Nigeria.
Being again that we are in the digital age, there is so much more that we all can do. And the good thing is, as an entrepreneur, whatever you're doing, you can still be creative in it and still use the digital world to benefit you.
Amid daunting economic challenges affecting the Nigerian business environment, the need for both the public and private sector to collaborate and boost the productivity of the MSMEs cannot be overemphasized. Blessed Omonose, TVC News, Lagos.
Boarding an establishment or established entrepreneurs must continue to utilize the vast array of knowledge available to ensure business sustainability and resilience. This is one of the focal points at the Knowledge Digest Africa Conference in Lagos. David Alabi was there.
This gathering of young entrepreneurs emphasizes the need for knowledge-based empowerment initiatives. The convener of the maiden edition of Knowledge Digest Africa Conference gives insight into why a one-stop digital knowledge bank to educate and empower millions of African business leaders that had to deal with unique contextual business climates and enrich professionals with substantial and up-to-date career, entrepreneurship, and technology know-how for wealth creation is a gap necessary to be filled.
People are struggling to achieve success because 85% skill set is what you learn informally. And that informal knowledge is from books, seminars, retreats, mentorship, and all of that. And that's what we are putting together on this platform with the enablement of tech. So it doesn't matter where you are, you have access to information, interviews by different experts, master classes running simultaneously, marketplace where you have access to materials of people that you can consume. It's going to be Africa's #1 knowledge digital bank, and we plan to do a lot of collaborations.
Speakers further highlight how to build a change mindset to harness digital collaborations and business models that develop transgenerational wealth.
Today we talk about, like I said during the presentation, that we talk about Cadbury, Schweppes, we talk about Heineken and the rest. They were businesses started by entrepreneurs, but it went beyond just being an entrepreneur, a family business, to becoming global businesses. So it's important that if you are starting anything at all, it should not die after you, it should succeed you. That is when your efforts, while on this side of the divide, will not be in futility.
Any startup that really wants to become a viable business, a viable organization going into the future, there are fundamentals that you must acknowledge and upfront tell yourself that come rain, come shine, these are the things I'm going to live by, okay? So developing structures, systems, processes, ensuring that you don't play in a very inclusive manner exclusive manner, that you're playing inclusive in terms of getting a lot of people, creating an ecosystem, thinking and operation. For me, that helps you to actually survive into the future than if you're just, boxed up in your own little corner and thinking that you have all the knowledge, you have all the skill and you need nobody else.
The consensus remains that Africa's business climate and entrepreneurs now more than ever need to be more strategically positioned to break greater grounds and maintain global relevance.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm happy I'm here.
The stock market was depressed as traders and investors crashed prices with sales pressure, Effiong Ekop reports.
African Development Bank Group and the Securities and Exchange Commission have signed partnership agreements on the sum of $460,000 for an upgrade of market surveillance system. The fund will help the growth of the Nigerian capital markets by expanding facilities to monitor threats while encouraging private sector participation in market processes. Meanwhile, business at the stock market closed negative due to sales pressure. Many of the big banks lost values on their shares prices as trade figures and data crashed in the afternoon following announcement by the Central Bank of Nigeria's monetary policy rate of 14% from the previous 13%. The stocks of Multiverse, Japo Gold and Academy Press all lost huge values calculated between 7 and 9%. RT Briscoe, GlaxoSmithKline and Cornerstone Insurance recorded gains on trades. More than 200 million units of shares worth 2.76 billion naira were traded. Effiong Ekop TVC News, Lagos.
And finally, from business, the oil prices in the international market rose slightly today, pairing earlier losses, and after soaring more than $5 per barrel in the previous session. Amid concerns about tight supply, U.S. West Texas Intermediate crude recorded a price increase of 0.26% to hit $102.90 per barrel. Brent sells at $106.60, registering an upward price margin of 0.28%. Bonny Light's performance is still trading in the red territory, with a price decline of 3.25%, selling at $118.10 per barrel. For the OPEC basket, crude oil dealers offer $104.40, with an uptick of 1.69%.